Hey guys, back again. So let's continue with what we have. So let's go to Firebase. We're going to style that in a little bit, the file upload. So let's just actually go and update this function because at this point this function doesn't know the progress also. So this one is going to take a little bit more. So let's make this smaller and let's remove this. So we are here in the add post view. So we're going to remove what we had before so it gets cleaner. Now let's close this. Let's go to config and let's go to update. Let me minimize the OBS so we can just keep with this. Okay, so I'm not going to work with this right now. Let's go to post. Why do I have index open? I don't know. So let's go to post view and let's take a look at what we're going to change. So give me a second, guys. Okay, we have the methods, we have the created. So is this one? Okay, let me just move this one out. Okay, so it's actually the same name, right? Yep. So what I'm going to do is just get this and remove it. We're going to keep the event prevent default. I'm using it like this. I think there's a prevent which can go actually here inside the form. I can't remember which one it was. I just saw that yesterday. I'm not a big Vuejs user, as you can tell, but at least you will get the basics of how to work with this. And of course, as I move on with Vuejs, I'm going to give you more best practices, sorry, and more content that kinda matches what the real world jobs or gigs or whatever you're trying to find actually ask for. Okay, so we're going to get real content as we are doing. So we are handling every time files and APIs. So we have that. Okay, so we have the update post and the event prevent default, which in this case is added inside the function using the event. Okay, that doesn't mind. Let's add this, which is the title and content, to the update data, which is actually a new object. So this one is going to get this edit post title and this edit post content as the corresponding variables or properties which are coming from this object. Okay, and we're getting those when we first get the first print. So we're setting this post data to be this data that is returning from the from Firebase, and we're setting these independent variables, which is the or properties from the edit post title, content, and file ref, using what is coming from this data. Okay, so we're going to do kind of the same. Let's define a new variable d, which is going to be empty, just so ESD doesn't complain. And let's actually do... Okay, so what is going to happen here? We have two options. Let me just get this. We have two options. One, the user selects a file, and the other one, the user doesn't select a file to update. Okay, so we need to handle those two options. So in this case, we're going to say if, let's type it, this that edit post, and I'm going to give you a little advice here, because coming from this kinda how can I say, well, let's do something. Let me just change this. I think I'm going to show you that later. Okay, let's say this. I have this update post, which in this case should work, but Okay, let's just say this. You can see how I'm defining each function. Let me just make this bigger. I'm defining handle and the parameter, and just this is just a regular JavaScript function, okay? A function that we are used to use for so long. So now, what happens if inside this I need to reference maybe another function, let's say my other func, and I need to reference what is inside this that edit post that title. Okay, I need to reference this, and of course, what it's saying is expecting what. So, what the hell you want? Expected. So let me see if I do this and save it. Okay, it's the freaking ESLint. But let's say this is correct. Okay, let's say, because clearly it's not. I'm missing something and I don't know what. Okay, so you might find that in this case, this edit post title is going to return as undefined. Okay, so let me just maybe if I try to, or maybe because it's not even set. I know this is out of the scope kinda. So my other func and console log, let's say data, something like that. I don't even mind. So let's say okay, this that my other func, and that should work. Let's save this and let's go. It's going to run with the handle update. It says update is assigned, but okay, this freaking thing. Okay, let's keep this one like this. Okay, I just make it like that. I'm going to show you in a bit because this is something that bothered me. That is the scope of the variables that usually with React and Angular, you most of the times don't have to worry about this, but you will need to worry about it inside Vue.js. Okay, let's just continue with this because ESLint is complaining that I don't have a lot of things set. Well, that I have things set, but I'm not using them. So, as I said, what is going to happen here is that this edit post cover, in this case, we're going to check if it's not empty. So what we need to do here is just to get again the correct references. Space those. Why is pasting them like that? Okay, let's paste that there. Okay, well, I didn't want to go all the way there. Okay, so constant storage ref is going to be the reference of the storage, of course. The child is going to be the reference of the file, and the put is actually going to upload the file. So you can see that this is the name, it's using the name to store that, and this is the actual store of the file, which is using the actual file. Okay, so we are cool there. After this, because at this point, remember that we do have a file, this cover is not empty, so we are going to do actually the same that we did before. Let's say await new promise. Let's just make this resolve so we can just move to the next part of the code. Let's add a semicolon there, and I'm going to do the same. Let me just get this. Okay, so we're going to listen again to the state change. We're going to get each part of that transfer, and we're going to set this file progress to the progress. I haven't added that, but I will do in a second. It's just another paragraph with the file reference. Let me just get this in case we have an error. Again, I copied that. I shouldn't. Then when you're just going to console that error, you can just set whatever you want there, and the async, which in this case, of course, is again getting the reference of the download URL Let me just make this, okay, move that like that. So we're going to get the download URL. We're going to store that inside our D variable. We're going to set a new property inside the update data. At this point, we want to grab what we have currently as background, as the cover. So we use this post data file ref. We only need the name, and this is the name of the file. Okay, we only need the name in order to give that to Firebase so we can delete it. So we generate a new property named all cover inside the update data. Okay, so this is what is going to get a new property. Okay, and we resolve that so we can move outside of this. So below here, below this one, what we're going to do is actually to wait a second. Okay, we're actually going to update that file. Okay, so Firebase update post, we're going to pass again that D, which is a URL. We're going to get the reference of the file using that URL, and this post ID you can see, well, that is not there. This post ID is the ID that we are getting, so let me show you in case you missed that. This is using the route in order so we can get the ID. From there, let me just go, and we're going to pass what is inside this or the underscore update data object. Remember that we're only checking, let me say if, okay, you can see better that this is where it ends, so that's why I added that below this curly brace. So if this edit post cover is not equals to this empty string, or is not empty, then meaning that it has something, we're going to add a new property adding the old cover, and that update data is going to have that old cover. Okay, it doesn't show here, but it will. Okay, and if the cover is empty, we're going to move or ignore this block, this if block, and continue with the update. So at this point, update data is only going to have this title and content. Okay, so let's save that and let's go to the config and finish the update post. So let's just go to config. Sorry, I was make this smaller so we can see. Okay, so we need to pass first some parameters. Okay, let me just make this bigger again, because why not? Can I move this a little bit? Okay, so this async update post is going to get the URL, the post ID, and the post data. Okay, which are the objects or the parts we are passing here, here, and here. Okay, so we're going to do something here. First, we're going to check if the URL is not equal to null, or if the URL is not equal to empty. Okay, so as we are setting D inside this, we're just going to check if it's null or not, because if it's going to be null or empty if we don't have a cover selected. Okay, so we only need to check that. Of course, you can do more in-depth checking with this. You can stop this before it reaches the update post function inside this config file, but this is just a way of doing that. Then inside this if, we're going to set or get again the reference. We need to get it again and use a new await. Remember that we're using async here, so we can use await to delete what is coming as the post data all cover. So if I go back here, if I select a new one, choose file, I have a ton of things here. Let me just grab a new one. If I have one. Okay, this one. Okay. So this is going to be our new cover, okay? Because we are setting that and the code is going to take that and upload it. So this one is going to become our old cover, okay? So that is what we're going to delete. That is what we are passing here as this update all cover. So we can grab that inside our service kinda and we can just delete that so we don't have the file laying there and not being used, okay? So it's going to delete that so we don't get each time when we update a file an extra file, okay? So after this, we're going to do the same. We're going to just get the reference from the URL that we are passing here. Then create a new one. Okay. Title, content, cover, and file ref. This is going to be the full object that we're going to upload if we have a URL, if the user chose a new file. Okay. Then I'm just going to return this and merge it. Okay, so let me see where am I. Return Firebase Firestore collection. Okay, is underscore post. Remember that this makes sense. This actually matters. If you add a capital P here, it's going to create another collection. Okay, so you need to be aware of the naming of your collections. We get that document, so we can update it. We use set to update. We pass the object, this freaking thing, and we just merge the changes. So everything that changed is going to change and the things that we didn't change are not going to change. So meaning that if I add another one here that is other, okay, and say whatever, this is going to be added inside the document, okay? So let's say else. So at this point, inside this else, we need to handle the simple update, which is going to be only, okay, let me just show you that. Okay, it's just the same, but we pass post data. What is post data? Post data is what we're getting here. Let's save that, and where we are getting that, so you can just understand, is this data with only the title and content. Okay, so let's save that. Let me just go back, make this smaller. Just go to post and get that upload. We also need to set it. Let me just, where did I add that? Okay, here. I think I was going to style that, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be honest. And let me add this one inside the data. Okay, so let's go back here. This should, okay, I'm not going to bother with this. Let's close that and let's run it again. I'm done with the grab that this CLI is giving me. So, and you can see this is what we're getting. You can just hide that with CSS. I think I'm not going to make that because it's, you know, if you are here, you already know CSS and you know some basics of CSS and web design. So you should be able to just hide that and show it. And of course, let's say if we have something that is busy, okay, is busy is equal to false. And what we can do is just to say if if is busy, okay, then v else. Let's see if that happens. Is this thing still, am I in the correct place? First of all, post. Okay, that should, even though, okay, because this is not actually there, we need to move it. So is the form. Okay, let's just where can I place that? Well, let's just add it here, maybe. Okay, so where does this grab ends? Okay, so can I just add it here? Okay, it seems like. And of course you can move this button. Let's save this and let's see. Are you freaking compiling or what? This is something that just bothers me. I don't have to deal with this crap with React and Angular, so I don't know why Vue does this. Maybe I'm just stupid and I'm not realizing I'm doing something wrong. Okay, that is set. Okay, so let's just try this. You can see upload file, which shouldn't be there actually. Okay, maybe I'm just the stupid one. Is busy is equal to false. And let me just check. File update. We see router go. This should give us the refresh. And where should I add the? Okay, let's see what happens. Let's first of all see what happens if that works. Okay, 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 okay. It's taking it as true for some reason. Else. Okay, if not be else, if not is busy, I mean, does that work here? Okay, 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 okay. So it was checking true. So this was the inverse of what I wanted. So I'm just checking that this is not false in a way, okay? And just moving on because I want it to be false by default and set it true because it makes sense that when I set it true, the is busy, okay, is kind of on. You know what I mean? Because this one is going to be set. I hope I didn't lose you guys over here, but okay, I need to explain this too. But what I want is when we update the post, we say this that is busy to true. Okay, so I want to set that to true, and this is going to redirect us still, but I'm just going to go here and inside this, then before everything else happens, I'm just going to set it to false again. So we can see, and you will be able to, let's just refresh this because I don't trust the CLI. And let's choose another file. Let's see, pop, pop, pop. I have a ton of crap still here, so let me just get this pick, open, and update post. And you can see the file 100% and it changes, it updates that, and we can say blah 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 blah, blah and update post. We don't have a file, so it just displayed that. So of course you can add a more in-depth check. So let's just make this, let's give it a class so we can see that. Okay, let's just be this kind of specific class in progress. Let's say progress, and I have a global because I don't want to go with the scope. Was going to say global, yeah, progress, and let's say font size. Let's make it big, 46, and you know where I have that? I have it on new post. Okay, but inside new post I don't have that class. Okay. class equals progress. So just that I can see. You can see, well, right, okay? You can see this. So let's just move it a little bit. So let's say margin 0 auto, and this is just the simplest way to style it, and say width. We have margin that is going to center, but we need to specify a width that is less than 100%. 90. Okay. Okay. So display text align. Sorry, text align center. So we actually need to center that. Okay. So you can see this. So if I do this, blah 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 blah, choose a new file, and I need to give me. Okay, let me just go to my other folder, which I have a ton of files there that I can use. I just need to find them. This one, open, and create post. You can see, because it's not as a big of a file to take a lot of time in order to upload, then it only moves pretty fast. So let's check this one. Let's actually open this and delete this post. Going to erase those, and okay, so we have 4. We can work with those, and let's just go with this one again. So you can see, let's update this. Let's update it and post. Let's say new post updated. Choose a new file. We just get one more file, so we can move with this. So I just added the font size so it is bigger, so you can actually see what is going on. Okay, and update post, and you can see this update file, and it's going to redirect us, and we have the new data. Okay, so of course, guys, you will be able, or you should be able to just move out all these things. This is just a matter of moving. Remember that the if and else need to be close together. Okay, so the if should be on top of the else. So you just need to style all this, and yeah. So I think that's all. I hope I didn't lose you guys with all that changing. Oh, okay. One more thing. Because I know this is for newbies, and I don't want to mess this thing up. So let's actually say this my other func. Okay, let's go there. So this one is going to be added, or it's going to be triggered when we do this. Okay, I think when we select a new file. Let me just get a new file. Okay, I do have a ton of files here. Let's get this one. No, this one. Okay, open. So you can see it says data. Okay, but sometimes you will not be able to get the reference correctly to that specific part of the application. Okay, what do I mean by that? That if you are trying to get something, how can I say this? This is because the thing is that I will need to add more complexity into this so you can check it out and kind of understand, but you can always do this. Okay, you can always do this. You want to keep the scope of the function and of the class itself. You can just do this So let's just make this like that. You can just define your functions as so what would I do with this? Async like that. Okay, so we can keep the scope of the class inside this function. So let's see if that works. That should actually work. And let's just refresh this in case. You know what? I'm going to run this one more time. The last one. And okay, it's compiling. Let's see, 40%. Nice. Let's just wait for this. Okay, ready to rumble. So now we can just okay. So this is actually it. Error in v and handler type cannot read property edit mode of undefined. Okay. So this is going to keep the reference of the function itself, but of course you will need to in case you don't have or you just lose the reference that you want to grab here or inside a function. Okay, because I think I'm explaining that wrong actually. And what I mean is that if we have a new function, this that well, let's say like this new font is a little different to explain. If I want to grab, maybe I'm getting some properties or whatever, or I'm setting this let or maybe I'm just passing something, and if I need to use this operator, it's going to break as you saw here because it's not going to get the correct reference. So you just need to be aware that if that happens, you just need to change this to a new arrow function or the parent function so you can get the correct reference in case you need it or you need to use a new function inside what you have inside the methods. Okay, I know it's kind of complex, but I will try later to just set a new example for that because I will need to explain it better. Of course, I don't want you to understand wrong what I'm trying to say. So yeah, at any case, if you are getting or handling a new function inside a method, then and if you are getting an undefined reference, go ahead and change this one or whatever method to be the to be an arrow function so you can keep the scope of that, so you can kind of mix those. And this is something that I only seen in Vue, so it's kind of explain. It's kind of hard to explain because you need the correct set of problems or complexity so you can move on. But you can see that this is working pretty fine. And I think that's over, guys. We will get later a new Vue course, which is going to use the Vuex state management. I'm not going to focus on beautify or whatever else. I don't care about those specific things. I just care about the core functionality, and then you can build on top. Once you know how everything works, you can just build on top of that. Okay, so yeah, guys, thank you and see you in the next one.